When I was relaunching my podcast, I knew that I needed something easy to use. The last podcast distribution service I used was a little clunky, so I was grateful when I came across Podbean. Podbean has so many plans that you can access depending on whether you are just starting out or you are trying to work with affiliates and advertising. Podcast production has never been easier. You can try one of Podbean's affordable business plans for 1 month free, gratis, when you use my code podbean.com/MVC Performance. Again, that's podbean.com/MVC Performance. It's also in the show notes. Go check it out and make your podcast happen.
Hola, my friend. I'm Melissa V. Cartwright, and welcome to the Passionate Performer Podcast. You have a voice that deserves to be heard. And you also deserve to have a performance career where you don't feel like you're sacrificing who you are to meet the demands of the industry. I'm a Latin singer-songwriter, actress, and voice coach with 25 years of experience. And so I get it. I understand the grind, the joys, the ups and downs, and everything in between. We cannot keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. So we are here to help you problem solve those challenges, figure out why we're feeling the way we do, and give you the next right step. We are not here to mess around. We are ready to take action. Let's go.
Happy World Voice Day, Passionate Performer, officially celebrated and recognized all over the world on April the 16th when this podcast is being published and in your ear holes this very minute. And as a professional singer, voice coach, obviously, this is a beautiful day to celebrate and acknowledge the fact that you hit play on this episode, that you are actively singing and doing the thing, doing something that I hope brings you joy. In today's episode, I want to get back to the heart of why you started in the first place. Or if that's feeling a little fuzzy for you, I want to walk you through some things that'll help spark your creativity. I'm basically giving you a live coaching session of one of the first modules inside of the Passionate Performer program. Why singing is so mental and why this conversation needs to be had over and over and over again. And it's impossible to compartmentalize what's going on in your head and the sound of your voice. We have done that for years. I did that for years, right? I tried to show up to any voice lesson, any performance, suppressing whatever was going on inside of me just to get the job done. And what happened over the years is that finally caught up with me. My brain and both my body were like, "Ayo, you've been ignoring me all these years. It's time to pay attention." Because all of a sudden my voice was fraught with tension. I could not get the neck tension to go away whenever I sang. There were some functional things that needed to be adjusted as well as some mental things. And I will tell you that personally, when I went on my own personal therapy journey, I really started seeing the transformation in my singing. Now, I do want to give an important disclaimer. I am a voice coach and professional singer who has adjacent professional training that complements the world of mental health awareness, psychology training, trauma-informed training. I myself am not a licensed therapist. So that is my disclaimer. Anything I'm about to share does not substitute the important work of working with a mental health professional. So I strongly encourage you to seek the advice of that person, talk to your physician, make whatever you need to do happen in order to do that for yourself, okay? This is something that's going to complement what is happening in your singing and get us to expand your view of how thinking about these things can help you sing better. When I was thinking about this episode, a colleague of mine asked me last week, "Why do you sing, Mel?" And it seems like such a simple question, like I should know the answer to that. It actually stumped me because I've been doing it for so long. I grew up singing in church, got really serious about it in middle school when I realized that I was obsessed with singing and became a choir kid. Sang throughout high school, changed my career path to become a music major, a voice major. and sang throughout college. I wanted to pursue it commercially. Post-college, I started doing more theater, right? Like I have made a living both from performance and teaching people how to do it. So when it's become a part of you for so long and someone asks you a simple question like, why do you sing? I had to pause. And so I'm going to ask you the same question. Why do you sing? And if you're kind of finding yourself in a similar situation where everything's getting a little cloudy right now, and you're like, do I know why I sing? Do I remember why I started in the first place? Or have I been doing this so long that, do I even love this? Do I even like doing it anymore? And that can be a scary feeling, right? So I want us just to basically have some bestie time, some convo time, some heart-to-heart time, and talk through some things that'll help clarify what does singing mean for you in this season of your life, of your performance career. So let's start with, what's sparking your curiosity right now? This can be anything from taking a look at your playlist, like when you're in the car or you're going for that run. What are some of the first things you're wanting to listen to? Are you still consuming music? I went through a season like this where I did not want to listen to any music for pleasure, which is so weird for a music instructor. I wanted just to consume audiobooks and podcasts. And there was nothing wrong with that. That season of my life when I didn't want to consume music for pleasure, I was doing some heavy duty trauma work personally. That was associated with my singing. And so no wonder, right? My brain, my heart, my spirit, all of that needed a break per se from the music that I was consuming for my job because I was teaching the songs that my clients were singing that I needed to, learn and be up on. But if you're not listening to anything for pleasure, that's data. That's showing you something. That's telling you something. If you're singing along to something, well, what is it that you find yourself singing to? Are you discovering new music? Are you playing the same songs on repeat and singing through those? And I'm saying these things out loud, not as indictments, not because it's a wrong answer. It's just, why don't you just take a notice, right? Take notice of some of your listening and singing patterns. Maybe you're actively employed. Maybe you're in a show. You're actively learning music for a production that you're a part of. Right now, you're obsessed with listening to those rehearsal tracks because you're memorizing and trying to nail the songs. If that's bringing you pleasure, awesome. That's wonderful that your job is actually sparking joy for you. But if you find yourself a little dry, think about what is actually bringing you pleasure and joy. What makes you feel most like you? Is anything making you feel nostalgic? Do you find yourself going back to songs either that you sang as a child or that's bringing about some fond memories? All of those things can be exploratory for you and your creativity. And then I would say take notice of how you're feeling when you listen to those things. Maybe it's not all good feelings when you're listening to older songs. Or maybe, if a song you hear comes up, a classical piece or something you worked on in college, and it was fraught with a lot of insecurities, it's important to take notice of those things and how they make you feel in your body. So number 2, after you've sorted out the things that bring pleasure and the things that make you feel a little insecure or they kind of heighten the emotions a little bit, let's go back to that list of songs, of things that do spark joy, that bring comfort. And then let's kind of sort through that list. And notice if on a scale of 1 to 5, 5 being like, I would sing this right now. I would get on stage and perform this right now. 1 being like, I'm just kind of, maybe this is more of a folding laundry kind of song. You can start sorting those things out as well. And when you're met with moments of indecision, like, oh my gosh, why do I sing? Why do I sing? A lot of times we associate that, with what kind of songs am I singing? Or I don't even know how to pick songs for my voice in this season of my life. Go through that yay list. And we're going to get more specific with the level of yayness with this phrase. If it isn't a hell yes, it's a no. Simple as that. I mean, gut reaction, 3 seconds or less. Is it a hell yes or is it a no? Nothing in between. We want those hell yes songs right now for you. Okay. Later on, we can revisit songs that didn't make the cut in this season of your life. But if this is about sparking creativity, rekindling the passion, the joy, the fire of why you started singing in the first place, we need to be leaning into those songs that really, really, really light us up, that make us feel amazing. There's nothing wrong with that. This is helping you get unstuck. This is helping to bring clarity to your why you started singing in the first place. Yeah. So maybe right now you're singing because you do need to come back to a version of yourself that was full of joy. Maybe you're singing right now simply for self-care. And maybe you used to perform in front of audiences all the time, but you are working on yourself, maybe on your mental health. Maybe you're in vocal rehabilitation. Singing right now is almost like therapy. There's nothing wrong with that either. Yeah. So when I finally got to an answer with my colleague and my friend, I was like, I'm singing right now to show people that they can just be themselves. When I sing, I want someone to feel at home with me, not because necessarily they're a fan of mine or they like me, but because they like themselves. They should feel like themselves wholeheartedly and see an example of someone who is doing the same thing and using singing as a mechanism to do so. Yeah, I hope that's what you're feeling when you listen to this episode. Like, oh my gosh, I am feeling a lot of these things. Someone understands. Are you getting some clarity as to why you're singing in this season of your life? What is your why? Have you kind of started getting some flesh and bones on what that looks like in your life right now? If you're still a little fuzzy, that's okay. Because part of that fuzziness is you probably feel like there's a deficit in your singing right now. Maybe you signed up for a program. Maybe you signed up for a lesson because there is a challenge that you're wanting to work on. And you come into that first voice lesson or you come into that consultation with your voice teacher and you're like, I can't belt. I can't sing high. I really want to riff and I can't. I just can't, I can't. And so I want to remind you of a very powerful word when you're in those settings. Maybe you can't belt yet. Maybe you can't hit that high C yet. Maybe you haven't nailed that riffing pattern yet. The power of the word yet brings curiosity, exploration. We actually want to remove some of these very definitive statements. We want to shake them up a little bit. We want them to expand and start morphing and evolving because those are stops that you have put on yourself. And if it's constantly, I can't, you're only going to stay in the what now. And the tools that you are then given by a voice teacher, an instructor, in order to help you reach your goals, you're going to see those as, well, this doesn't sound like the sound I want to make. I just told you, Miss Teacher, I want to belt. So I want my voice to sound like that now. When the reality is, you have to make some crazy ass noises in order for you to explore what your voice, the timbre, the tone, the color of your voice sounds like when it is amplified, when it has this thick, solid sound that we call belt or that you perceive as belting. So when you welcome the word yet, you understand that there's going to be a process that's going to lead you to the goal that you have in mind. If you embrace your journey as this one big puzzle piece, you're more open to experimentation and exploration. And then when there is a pivot for you, when something unexpected happens, whether it's good and exciting or there's another challenge that you're faced with, you're not derailed. You just see it and you're like, that's interesting. Now I know I need to pivot or I need to change, but it doesn't stop you from doing what you love or what you've set out to do. So when you're asking yourself, why do I sing? What is my reason? I hope that these are some things that you can take away, journal through, and think about on this World Voice Day, what you do want your singing to sound like and look like and feel like. And the more questions you ask, the more specific you get, ooh, doggy, it is way more fun. Your exploration process, your training process, your performance process becomes more of an adventure, more exciting. And please hear me, this is not void of tears, of frustrations, of a few cuss words in the process, right? As you're trying to meet your goals. It just means that you are so clear on what your intention is. Again, that when those challenges arise, they're not going to knock you down. They're not going to stop you in your tracks. They're simply a puzzle piece to figure out. And you are more than capable, my friend, of doing that. I am cheering you on. I'm excited to hear, why do you sing? Reach out to me on Insta, send me a DM, email me. Let's keep this conversation going. Because if you are certain of your why, when you get up in front of an audience and share your message, it's going to be crystal clear to them as well who you are and what you are about. And as a performing singer, isn't that what we long for? Connection with our audience, for our audience to feel something when we use the medium of music, when we use the medium of singing to convey our message. Maybe that starting point is something we all need to revisit for our why we sing and do this in the first place. My friend, if you found this incredibly helpful for you today, this is our starting point inside the Passionate Performer program, working through some of those mental blocks and challenges that you've had when you get up in front of people to perform. All of a sudden, your vocal training and your artistic development becomes a lot clearer, a lot more specific, and shows you what the next right step is in your performance journey. If you're curious about how to get started, that information is in the show notes. You can also pick up my free 7 days to the stage journal. The week of the show is probably one of the most high energy, high stakes moments of your singing. So this journal takes you day by day with something to focus on in your singing, in your mental preparation, in your stage presence, and helps you show up to the show ready to do the thing and ready to do it over and over and over again. Thank you again, my friend, for joining me. I am cheering you on. Tú eres una estrella. You are a star. I'll see you in the next episode.